Would WWE really do this with Charlotte Flair? Well, in this video, I'm telling you exactly what I got in mind. Y'all, when I thought of this theory of a realistic possibility that WWE could do this when Charlotte Flair returns to in-ring action, I'm telling y'all, it got me thinking. It got me thinking, and I'll be honest, I'm a little worried about it. And I hope I didn't put it into the ether. I hope I did not put it into existence by this thinking, and I think you're going to find this very interesting. Look, Charlotte Flair, depending on the time that you hear this video, she's either on her way back or is coming back, right? What we do know is this: Charlotte Flair has been out the game for over a year. A torn ACL, MCL, and a meniscus on a, December 13th, I believe it was, episode of SmackDown. Someone will let me know down in the comments area below. She's been out the game. But what she has been doing, she has been putting in the work. She's been documenting the work. She's been having fans talk about Charlotte Flair, even though she's been off of television for over a year. That's pretty impressive in itself. And as we know that Charlotte Flair is either back or coming back, we know that she's going to be put in certain situations. This is just what they do with Charlotte Flair, right? They want to make her the women's GOAT. They want her to succeed Trish Stratus, in my opinion, as a women's GOAT. Let me know in the comments area below, who do you consider to be the women's GOAT? And you know that she's going to be in the world title picture. That's just what they do. They desperately want her to break John Cena and Ric Flair's world title record of 16. They cannot wait to do it, right? It's like it's a little kid waiting on Christmas morning. They just can't wait. And so what they do is they consistently book her in title matches and big time programs that will either get her to a championship and or let her win a championship. That's just what they do, right? They've done this for her for literally the last decade. And I would say this: as we go into 2025, as Charlotte Flair is starting to cook, I would just ask this, and this is my theory, this is the point of the video. Would WWE have her return either at the Women's Royal Rumble and or be just part of the match and return before then? Have her win the Women's Royal Rumble match, earn a women's championship opportunity, whether that's the women's champion in Nia Jax or the women's world champion, whether that be Liv Morgan or Rhea Ripley by the time we get to Mania. Have her win the Women's Royal Rumble. Have her challenge for the women's title at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. And oh, by the way, have her win the championship. Y'all, I think this is way more of a realistic possibility than we want to see. Look, as someone who respects Charlotte Flair as an in-ring worker, as someone who respects her as a promo and one of the best heels in the business, I can appreciate when Charlotte Flair is on television because I understand that we are seeing greatness. We are seeing a generational type talent. There is something different about this girl. She is a unicorn in a lot of ways. But at the same time, she is one-sided. And here's what I mean by that. If she is booked as a heel, fantastic. Put her on my television. I want to see it. If she's booked as a babyface, though, I have no interest in seeing this woman. She's not a very good babyface. And that's okay. If you are great at something and you're decent at the other thing, just go with what you're great with, right? And I understand they want to change it up, but her last run in the company, that was bad. And she was a babyface for like the entirety of it. It was a really bad run. I did not like it whatsoever. So it does scare me a little bit. Not necessarily that they would book her and have her win the Royal Rumble and have her win a championship at WrestleMania 40. I'm more concerned of, is she going to be a babyface or a heel as we go along this road, right? Because whether or not she wins a Royal Rumble and she wins it at WrestleMania or she wins it, in 6 months from now, regardless, in 2025, Charlotte Flair will be at least a one-time women's champion. I have no doubt about it because they're going to try to get her that record as soon as possible. Someone will let me know in the comments area below. Either she's a 14 or 15-time women's world champion, not counting NXT. So she's right there on the cusp, right? And if you look at it like that, I think it's inevitable that she's going to be the women's champion. That's not the issue. That's not even a question. It's going to be a matter of fact, right? It's how do you get to it? And my scenario in which I was thinking about, I think that is way, way more realistic. Like the last time I checked, and then maybe this has changed, but Becky Lynch was the last favorite that I saw to win the Women's Royal Rumble match, right? She's expected to be back on television either by or on January 6th for the Raw on Netflix debut. And so everyone's like, well, the last time we saw her, she was a women's world champion and she dropped it to Liv Morgan. And sure, she'll come back and win the women's Royal Rumble match and get her a WrestleMania match again and win the title, right? And it's like, I don't think so. I think that spot is going to be for Charlotte Flair. And I can see this happening like no other. She comes out at number 30, right? She gets a huge ovation. I just hope they turn her heel in the process. Like, I do not want to see a babyface Charlotte Flair. And you know what? Maybe I'm in the minority. I'd love to hear what y'all got to say down in the comments there below. Community, let me know. But I'm not a fan of the idea of having Charlotte Flair back as a babyface. I am sure as heck not looking forward to the possibility of Charlotte Flair being a babyface and doing so as the champion. I don't want to see it. I do not want to see it. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of Charlotte Flair as a babyface, and I understand that she can work both sides. And the in-ring psychology isn't even the issue. It's her promos. Her promos are not very good as a babyface. And this is someone who says this with all the respect in the world for Charlotte Flair as an athlete, as a wrestler, as a performer, and someone who I do see her succeeding and surpassing Trish Stratus as the women's GOAT. Like, it's not even a question of if, it's a matter of when she does it. And I think she has to break the women's world record, or just a world title record in general, to do that, right? But it's going to happen. She is going to go down those women's GOAT, at least for our lifetime. I mean, she's that freaking good. It's just a matter of how are they going to get there? Are they going to try to jam it all into 2025, which I can absolutely see, because there is a trend with her, and you can go back and you can look it up on Wikipedia or whatever not. If you go and you look at her title reigns, she doesn't necessarily hold the titles for that long. It's a much like her father and Ric Flair of like, all right, he'll win a championship, he'll hold it for a little bit, and then he'll win it back. Or he'll win it. I should say this: he'll win it and then he'll drop it, and then he'll win it back. He drops it, he wins it. He drops it, he wins it. That's just what they do with him. And so if you look at it like that, then it's like, I'm a little scared. But she could absolutely come back, win the Women's Royal Rumble, win the championship WrestleMania, and then start breaking that record in 2025, right? Because you also got to look at it like this. There's going to be a lot of new talent come up on the main roster because WWE Raw is going back to 3 hours and Friday Night SmackDown is going to 3 hours. And so they're going to need people to beat, and they're going to need to create new stars. And you best believe Charlotte Flair is going to be at the top of that list of being able to work with top tier names, work with new names, and be at the top of the card winning championships and main eventing shows. Like, that's just her role. That's what Charlotte Flair does. And WWE knows that. They recognize that. That is their formula. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they do with Charlotte Flair in 2025.